and live stream. I think sometimes it's just good to have a reminder that,
Well, especially when I don't have the screen down.
that we're always,
I don't put the screen down
Recording live.
when we don't have Zoom, just because personally, I don't like looking at myself on that large screen, and I have to watch the meeting again anyways when I do the minutes, so I only need to see myself up there so many times. But yes, all of our meetings are recorded and live streamed on the website and on YouTube, so.
Kind of used to that
Excellent
now.
reminder.
No cussing, right?
okay, so let's call this meeting to order of the Historic Preservation Commission's regular meeting of March 7th, 2024. Are there any citizen comments?
Nothing was called or emailed in prior to the meeting, and we have no citizens today.
Now we move on to new business and the approval of the minutes for February 1st, 2024.
So moved. Or I move that we approve the minutes.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then our next item is a certificate of appropriateness for the West End Historic District. An application by Wemhoff Architecture on behalf of Jesse and Janelle Bruck for a new awning, including signage, over the front entrance of the building at 0301 Second Street.
Okay, so 0301 Second Street is the Zone 208 and the cellar bars and restaurants that are over here on kind of the northwest side of us. So in your packet, there is standard application and then some architectural drawings and renderings. So you'll see that there is a photo showing the awning that kind of juts out. The entrance is recessed to the building, with part of it going up and part of it going down. It's almost like a split level kind of situation over there. But so as you can see, the metal awning, which is what they've pretty much always had. And then there's the two little sections that would have these little signs. And you can see on the secondary one kind of how the awning goes with the building. So you can see the arch of the building, the cross section on the stairs that go in, how that awning looks when it juts out, and then the little sections that have the nameplates. So each of those sections is, remember, oh, this one doesn't have those measurements on. They're not very big. They're little sections, so they're not huge signs. They're just kind of identifiers within that portion of the awning that protrudes. Looks like the awning itself is 20 feet in length, covering the whole portion of the entrance, and then it juts in 2.5 feet on either side. That's the overhang part that you can see here with the light in it, so that's about 2.5 feet on each side of that. So then there's 20 feet, so 10 feet for each of these little sections that has the cellar listed as one and Zone 208 listed as the other. And that is what you are reviewing, both the signage shown there and the awning itself.
Madam Chair, I was confused by by the ownership. We don't have the owner applying, we have Castars owns the building, right?
My understanding is he's either selling or leasing to these folks.
Selling or?
Leasing.
With their relative.
I believe so. I think Janelle may be his daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's how I've always understood it. Jay's selling the property, but he still is the owner right now.
Yeah, so I believe he's leasing the actual business part and is retaining ownership of the building, but my memory serves me, I believe that that might be his daughter.
Correct. It'd be nice to do the front of that place. It hasn't been done forever.
Yeah, so it looks like they're doing, a refresh of the building and trying to
Yeah, if they really do it kind of the way it's rendered here, it looks pretty cool.
Trying to dress her up a little bit. I mean, because that building is just a cinder block wall building, like it's not.
And more light, it's nice.
Yeah, wasn't it a beer distributor or something originally down there?
I thought it was like a dairy distributor or something.
I think it was beer,
It was a beer?
yeah.
I don't remember. But it was something like that where it wasn't, I mean, it's never been what we would,
Yeah,
if you'll remember from previous certificates of appropriateness that we have done for Mr. Starnes, he's argued a couple of times against being in the historic district and being considered a historic building because of the nature of his building. He's usually pretty good about following the rules, so yeah, so that's what you're going with. We're looking at these little signs and then the awning in total.
Anybody have any questions or comments before we start? Well, I will start reading through. So we're on the blue one for the West End Historic District. So I'll start with A. Brick, stone, and concrete. Buildings with brick exterior walls may be structural, load-bearing brick, or simply a brick veneer covering another structural material. So I'd say
Not
not
applicable.
applicable. E, metals were often used in historical buildings, particularly for ornamental elements such as columns and cornices, and utilitarian features such as door and window hardware. Wood, historical wooden elements, including doors, window sash, and sometimes ornament or siding.
Not applicable.
Let's see, design guidelines for historic building elements. Preservation of character-defining historical features of the storefront and main facade, including display windows, bulkheads, entryways, doors, transom lights, upper story windows, cornices, and parapets.
It does or it doesn't?
It does. There's,
it kind of covers a lot of it, but is it applicable
Doesn't look like any of those apply, does it?
to? They're not preserving anything really.
I know it's in the district, but in and of itself,
I don't think,
It doesn't really, so I guess from my perspective, it doesn't really have any elements that you guys would normally look at for historic building elements. It's always looked this way.
Yeah.
It's always had some sort of metal awning over it. I think at one point it even had like a cloth thing. But no, I don't know that I would say that historic building elements would apply,
I don't think so.
because I don't know
Doesn't
that
really-
it
we
having
really
that,
don't get to anything till we get to H, do we?
yeah.
I don't know that you would consider it a historic element.
So maybe that section there doesn't even apply
No.
at all. Let's move on to E if everybody's okay with that.
Yep.
This section addresses windows other than display windows generally situated on upper levels of a commercial building. Most historical windows of the 1880s to 1960s period are wood sash, although some later windows during this period are metal sash.
Nope.
Doors. This section addresses exterior doors generally situated on the ground level of a commercial building. Most historical doors of the 1880s to 1960s period are wood or wood and glass, although some later doors during this period are metal or metal and glass.
And they're not proposing a change to the door, that's how the door looks now.
So roofs. This section addresses commercial building roofs of the 1880s to 1960s period, most of which are flat with flat or shaped parapets. Awnings and canopies.
Very
Cloth and sometimes metal awnings and canopies were common during the 1880s through 1960s period. Many awnings could be rolled, raised, or lowered, and they often sheltered the entire walkway in front of a building, while canopies were generally of rigid construction. So, maintaining and repairing existing historical canopies or awnings, or replacement with canopies or awnings that retain the appearance of the originals. Replacement of missing historical canopies or awnings with historically compatible designs.
Well, this is one of the newest structures that we've looked at for,
Mhm.
and we're going to have more, I would think.
I would. Things happen in the downtown, you guys are gonna see more and more of these things where people are trying to maintain buildings and not necessarily the really old brick buildings, but other buildings that are also in the district surrounding. This is a replacement of an existing awning. So I guess you need to decide if the property is complying or not.
I'd say so.
I think this is the one that actually pertains.
Yep.
Okay, we're all saying yes?
I think we're saying yes.
Fantastic. Okay.
All right, chimneys in 1880s to 1960s historical buildings are generally brick features incorporated into the building or walls and protruding from the roof or parapet. Many are no longer functional. Yep. Balconies, although balconies are rather uncommon features, they may or may have been present on historical buildings in the Lewiston West End Historic District. Design guidelines for addition to historic buildings. Converting a historic building to a new use may necessitate construction of additions. This is acceptable under the treatment rehabilitation. No. Design guidelines for parking facilities, lighting, signs, and streetscapes. Since the goal of rehabilitation is to provide new uses for historic buildings, and the setting must be conducive to the selected use, parking facilities, lighting, signage, and generally pleasant streetscapes are of the utmost importance in encouraging people to visit shops and other commercial venues in the historic district. So I'd say this section does apply. Off-street parking located behind party wall buildings or shielded from main streets or walkways by vegetation or compatible walls. Sides. Locating off-street parking lots in areas with no historical buildings. Use of simple low-intensity lighting fixtures casting a warm light similar to daylight focused on building entrances, signs, and first floor detailing. Historical lighting fixtures should be preserved if possible. Modern fixtures should be compatible with the historic building and its surrounding in terms of size, scale, and color.
I think that's an interesting one for us because their lighting there is one of their primary features. And it certainly enhances their parking area. It doesn't seem to overwhelm the
Yeah, it's,
neighborhood the way it's designed.
yeah, it's definitely a downward cast. Definitely provides safety, because that is a darker area where there's not as much street lighting. And then there are, as you can see in the renderings, there are several can lights, projecting downward light to that entrance. Again,
It seems to me like that one might be one we could consider as,
Yeah, I think it's
I
applicable.
think it is too.
yeah, especially where it says, focus on building entrances and signs. I think it does apply to this.
I think 3 does comply. 4, consistent street lighting fixtures throughout the historic district may be a means of unifying the area, although the fixtures do not need to imitate historical types. Dark colors reminiscent of cast iron may be appropriate for earlier historic districts, while silver color reminiscent of aluminum may be appropriate for mid-20th century districts. Say that doesn't apply because it's street lighting. 5, use of signs that are compatible with and do not overwhelm the architecture of the building and district. Avoid plastic signs if possible. Consistent size and placement of signage contributes to unification of the downtown area.
I think that applies.
Yes. 2. So think the sign complies with that too? Historic building names or historic signs should be retained if possible as a part of the historic building.
No.
Preservation of historic painted advertisements on exterior building walls. Careful repainting and fading images may be acceptable.
Nope.
No. Service structures such as garbage, utilities, and storage placed where not visible from main streets or walkways. Screening with vegetation or compatible walls or structures is generally appropriate. Not applicable. Power telephone poles should be compatible in terms of size and color with nearby historic buildings. Although the poles do not need to imitate historical types, wood poles or poles painted to resemble wood may be appropriate for earlier historic districts, while a silver color reminiscent of aluminum may be appropriate for mid-20th century districts. No. And maintenance of pleasant streetscapes, perhaps with trees or planters, sidewalks, and simple compatible street furniture, retain a clearly defined pedestrian travel route. Historical features such as original street furniture, statues, walls, sidewalk inscriptions, stone curbs, and power poles contribute to the historic character of the district as a whole. It should be retained if possible. Until about the 1920s, most commercial district buildings were constructed as party wall structures with their main facades along the street. Alteration of this familiar pattern through removal of a historic building or setback of a replacement structure creates mild confusion, making the area less predictable and hence less comfortable for a visitor. Installation of walls, sculptures, or vegetation may adequately substitute for an altered street wall. No. The presence of pleasant public spaces encourages visitors to spend time in downtown areas. What?
Not a public space
It's
though.
not a public space.
Oh, yeah.
Where it exists, historic brick street surfacing should be retained if possible. So, our last one here, design guidelines for new construction within a historic district. So, I'd say no. It's not in new construction. So it looks like we're agreeing that everything applicable complies for this certificate. Does anybody have any other comments?
I move that we approve the certificate of appropriateness for 0301 Second Street.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
If we don't write on these, do you want these back?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking
Yep.
too.
You can leave them, I'll collect.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next certificate of appropriateness for the Normal Hill Heritage Overlay Zone, an application by Neil Decker of Redgate to replace the wraparound deck at 215 Prospect Avenue.
Okie dokie, so 215 Prospect Avenue is the Prospect Manor. You guys reviewed this one last year when they were redoing the windows up in that top part. So Mr. Decker came in on a Monday because they originally thought that they were just going to do an overlayment, but they had started pulling off the boards on the rear deck. Or rear porch, and have found that there is dry rot underneath. They're concerned about there being dry rot under the front, and so they want you to review the whole deck. So in your packet, there is some photos of the wraparound deck, so you can see kind of what we're dealing with from the street. So street view, you can see it does go all the way around the front, and then it does wrap. It doesn't connect to the back, but there is also deck in the back, and that's what these pictures are of. So this just shows kind of what it looks like and the dry rot that they're looking to fix and then replace. And then this is the decking material that they will be replacing the existing with.
So are they replacing the front part too?
Yes,
Okay.
they're replacing all of it. Originally, it was just gonna be an overlay, and so an overlay doesn't require a building permit, but for them to have to rebuild the bottom of the deck, that does, and so then it kicks it to you guys, because that's one of the requirements for
Let
that.
us know if the back not being visible from the street, if that part was for us or not.
Yeah, well, so that's the part where they have
That house.
pulled it up and that's where they discovered the rot.
The rot
They're
that made them
concerned,
decide to do the
yep,
whole
they're
thing.
concerned that they're gonna find the same things. The way they described it when they came in, they're like, it's squishy in the front,
Oh, yeah,
I'm like,
squishy's never good.
right?
It's always been that way.
Yeah,
The
so,
Especially when the
poles
butts
and the
have it,
railings
right?
and the
Yeah.
stain.
Yeah, that's my aunt and uncle's
Poles and
old
railing
house.
stain around the deck.
yes, all that stuff is staying, they're literally just, originally they were just gonna do the deck structure, or the decking on the top, and now they're having to replace all the structural part too, so.
I'm just thrilled. It's a gorgeous home.
It really
If
is.
you've not ever been in the inside of that and you ever have a chance, it's incredible.
So that's what you guys are reviewing, the replacement of the deck in full. My understanding is everything visual, the columns, the picket, all of that stays the same. They're literally just replacing the actual deck structure, so rebuilding that from kind of the inside out. And then the decking itself, which is what this grayish Trex product is. So you've all been provided with that. I believe everybody grabbed a. Nope, that's yours. Nope, I didn't grab enough. It was still yours.
Yeah, go for it. Or do I have two?
Oh, you have two,
I
that's
two.
one. I was like, I swear I
Sorry.
printed enough.
Does anybody have any questions or
Was hoarding.
comments before we get going?
Hoarding review
Yeah,
sheets.
ordering a review
Okay.
sheet.
Just an exciting home. Woodwork inside that place is unbelievable.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's get going on our overlay review, so.
So normally you just read the factors. I usually have you go and read all 7 of them, just for my tracking purposes, that's easier. So you know how like it divides them up 1, 4, and 6?
Yeah, I always look at that front page and go,
Just read through all 7 of them, and that's easier.
I can do that.
Let's just do that.
Okay. Number 1, under factors, the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alterations of features and spaces that characterize a property should be avoided. So,
That one reads so oddly.
I know.
Yeah.
But it comes from, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of, I don't have a lot of control over how they word those
I
things,
don't know,
because
I
that
never
comes
know how
from.
to answer it.
So you're
I think
deciding
it's
if the
okay.
property is in compliance with that statement or not.
I think it is, because
think
if you
so.
look at the first sentence, the character of a property shall be retained and preserved, and that, it is doing that.
I agree.
The removal of the materials is, rotten, but they're still keeping the character.
And I would say that it's not just materials, but it's the features part.
Yeah,
I agree.
The alteration they're making does not change the features
Yeah.
of the property,
Yeah,
and that's
shouldn't-
what the historical identifier is.
yeah, so I would say it's in compliance. How does everybody else feel?
I agree.
So number 2, each property shall be recognized as a physical record of its time, place, and use. Changes that create a false sense of historical development, such as adding conjectural features or architectural elements from other buildings, shall not be undertaken. So they're not doing that,
No,
so it complies. Number 3, most properties change over time. Those changes that have acquired historical significance in their own right shall be retained and preserved. Complying with that, don't you?
yep.
I don't even know if that one
I don't know if it
applies.
applies to it, but they aren't really changing. You know what I mean?
It's not like my understanding is this is how that building has always looked with the
Yeah.
wraparound porch. And so I don't know if it would be considered a previous change that is,
I don't know if
If
it
it
had
had-
ever been done, but that place was built in 1893, so,
So we don't know if it's original decking or not.
I mean, it should
well,
be
and even that, like,
squishy
I
at
always
this
think of
point.
like historical significance, so I use my parents' house, a couple houses down. They have circle portico windows that were done in the 30s. And they have been there so long, you could probably say that those have historical significance of their own, right? So if they were to change those silly little circle porticos that they have, that would probably be not in compliance with this statement, because they would be changing something that you would now consider significance, even though it was not original to that house. So I guess my mind thinks that way. So I don't know that it applies to this project, because I think the porch was always there. And so I don't think it's a element that was added later that has now gained historical significance.
Yeah, I can go with that too.
And the irony of it is that this deck will cost more than the original house cost.
Right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
understand.
That's true.
So we're saying that it complies or it's not a factor.
I would say it's not applicable.
Yeah.
Okay, distinctive features, finishes, and construction techniques are examples of craftsmanship that characterize a property shall be preserved.
Not applicable, right? That's another iffy one.
It is.
So I would say that the wraparound porch is a distinctive feature. And so I think that this is trying to preserve that so that it does not deteriorate and fall off.
Good point.
Yeah, I get it.
Does everybody say that it does
Yep.
apply and comply?
Sure.
Okay. Number 5, deteriorated historic features should be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of the deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, the new feature shall match the old in design, color, texture, and other visual qualities, and where possible, materials. Replacement of missing features shall be substantiated by physical or pictorial documentary evidence.
Yes.
So, definitely applies, and then feel like it complies then.
6 and 7 don't, because it's not new additions.
Okay, new addition, exterior alterations or related new construction shall not destroy historic materials that characterize the property unless such work is for replacement of inefficient or failing materials, fixtures or systems with modernly designed and constructed replacements that duplicate, replicate, or result in substantial conformance with the visual appearance or integrity of a historically significant aspect of the building. The new work should be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with the massing, size, scale, and architectural features to protect the historic integrity of the property and its environment. Wow.
Sort of.
I think it does apply.
Really?
Yeah, exterior alterations,
But is
The
it,
replacement of
Related
inefficient or
features.
failing materials,
yeah.
part of it.
I guess I don't see it as an alteration.
But it is replacement of inefficient or failing materials. So if you read it with those two pieces.
So, are we comfortable saying it applies and
Sure.
complies?
Yeah, it's the odd,
It's
Well,
kind
there's a
of,
lot in that paragraph, I
that
mean,
don't seem to
Kinda
be,
long.
they don't seem to be very congruent.
you're kind of on the fence on that one, but I think it does.
But we won't throw that word in the mixture.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7, new additions and adjacent or related new construction shall be undertaken in such a manner that, if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment would be unimpaired.
Whole house would fall down if you tore the.
We don't want that.
Say that doesn't apply. So, like we've marked 1, 4, and 6. So that says that it is deserving of a COA. Does anybody have any other comments or questions? A motion to approve.
So moved. Or I move that we approve the application for certificate of appropriateness for replacing the, what is it, the deck surface
I would just say the wraparound porch. I
The
would just cover the
wraparound
whole thing,
porch.
yes.
at 215 Prospect.
Those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Get used to seeing that house not pink.
right? I still call it the pink house, and then
Now,
I
is
confuse
it a
people.
single-family residence?
I think now it is an Airbnb,
Oh,
Think so?
is what I've understood. That's
Well,
what my,
Airbnbs are taking over
my cousin told me that.
huge amounts of them in Lewiston.
okay, so moving on to old business, we have the 2024 Orchid Awards discussion.
Okay, so press release went out to all the places, Facebook campaign has started, it's on the front page of the city website. I sent it to all the various, other groups asking them to include it in their newsletter, so it went to Valley Vision, it went to Beautiful Downtown Lewiston, it went to, the Historical Society. If anyone else has anyone they think might include it in something that they send out to a membership, please let me know and I'll forward it to you. Other than that, so we've confirmed our date for March 11th, which is the Saturday before Mother's Day.
May 11th.
Mailer.
May 11th, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm in March.
it would be this Monday.
Right, it can be 4 days, not a big deal. It will be at the Territorial Capitol Replica Building. I've confirmed that with Mary from the Historical Society. We're gonna do some sandwiches and cookies like we did last time, with water and lemonade. I have that ordered, so we're good there. I think all that's left is for you guys to come up with your nominations.
Has any been submitted yet after that?
I had one person call, asking about it, and I sent them like the packet of information because they had a house that they wanted to submit. I haven't gotten that back yet, but I did have one person call and I sent them information.
You know, as you look around, it's kind of weird because we've had buildings that we have given approval to and all of a sudden they're closed. I mean, just the Tapped, for example, and.
Yeah, and that would have been
And
a great
Camp
one.
and-
I mean, technically, you guys could still honor that building if you want to. Just because the restaurant closed doesn't mean,
What, the one on Main Street?
It's one of the,
Really?
just feels awkward to honor closed.
An empty building.
don't disagree.
I do want to comment that the one that we approved over here on D Street is looking really, really great.
The Howl, the new one.
Yes, and that might be interesting as in terms of downtown. Up on the Normal Hill area, there are a number of homes that have gone through revision. And some of them happened 4, 5, 6 years ago in some ways, and I think for example, I was in Charlotte Kramer's house the other day, 634 6th Avenue. And that's one that's definitely been done. I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately for them, they put on a metal railing going down. It looks great, but I don't know that it's in part of the historic character that just happened. For stability, for health purposes, they needed to do. There are houses like that that were really redone and we didn't look at. I don't know if we
I feel at
make a
any,
commitment
I
to.
feel at any point, you know, the rules that we are given by SHPO are not super specific, besides meeting those criteria that are set forth by the national standards. It doesn't say it has to be within, you know, the 12-month or 18-month or 24-month period prior to the awards being
It
held.
doesn't have to be just on Normal Hill.
No, it can be anywhere. Because remember, we did Tamblin House and we did some others the last time that were not, they're historic homes, but they're not in districts.
And see, I think it's better, like, if we do honor houses like that, rather than, like, TAP, they did a nice job, but I guess to me, it wasn't restoring a historic building. I mean, they did a nice job, it fits in downtown, it's fine, but to me, that's not really making it look historic like it used to be. And I guess to honor people with an award, I think if you go above and beyond and really do the extra to make it look like, you know, how it used to be or whatever, is more deserving of an actual award. I mean, it applied for, you know, it got the certificate of appropriateness, it was okay to be there, but I don't know, I guess I feel like it would be better to not award certain categories then get to where we're just anybody that does anything gets an award.
Yeah, and you definitely
That's
don't
my
have to award all the
I agree.
categories. I mean,
On Fifth Avenue, the one we approved up there is still in process, so it's not done, right?
I think they actually just called for their certificate of occupancy like this week.
Because they've been doing a really nice job on that one.
So that one, so I would have to verify that is the one, because I'm pretty sure that's the one I saw. Because I don't go, from my planning side of my job, I don't go to houses for finals, I just do commercials for finals, but I'm pretty sure that one came across my calendar. But if they have applied for their certificate of occupancy, then that would be them being done.
I thought it was just interesting, because I was
Somebody
in
wanted
the
to write
Kramer
that one
house
up.
the other day, the windows are from 1880 and 1890, and they are those wavy windows, you know, because glass is liquid technically, you know, and it just moves very slowly. And so it's got all of this beautiful ripple effect, so you're sitting in the dining area, which is gorgeous. And you've got this wavy feeling going on from the windows. It's beautiful. I mean, it's an incredible effect from a lighting standpoint. But they really worked like on the outside, and so is the Fifth Avenue one. Maybe what's our we need to make that commitment, because it's the 27th of March before is the deadline, isn't it?
Talking about, Dennis, what street is that on?
That one's on 6th Avenue, 634
Oh, the one
Yeah,
you
so
Sixth
we're at
Avenue.
the hospital. And then the other one, the one that's just been redone, is on Fifth, so you're going up Fifth. I would say it's totally fine to do,
So the process at this point is really kind of hit us square in the face, because our next meeting is in April.
and I would like for us to be able to review things at that meeting.
So basically,
Y'all need
if
to
you
get on it.
think that it's deserving, then they need to maybe take some pictures and
Yep.
write up an application to bring.
100%.
You're concerned with the metal railing? That can always be removed, right? And when that need is no longer there?
Oh, I'm sure it could.
And not-
I mean, I
and
understand
put back
I understand why they put it, and
Yeah,
it doesn't
couple
really
stairs.
detract
No.
from it, but it wasn't, I don't know that it ever went through us. I think they just put it on.
If it didn't require a permit, then it would not need to come through us. Not for that area.
So there are lots of those, you know, I would have put a powder coating on it that would have been white or something else other than black, but whatever, making it totally compatible with the house. But so I think this is almost the difficult part we have every darn time we do this, is if we find a place, I mean, I don't even know who the people are who have that fifth.
I have
'Cause I don't know how to contact them or anything else other than knocking on their,
Entire house, you mean?
pardon?
Yeah, I've been going by there, and it seems like there's the one car there, because I just live right down the street, and trying to get someone there to go talk to her. And I haven't been able to, I'm just gonna leave a note on the door, I think, so I'm gonna do, and have her call me, because it's hard to get a hold of anybody there.
Yeah, and I think I have contact information from the building permit and from when we
I
did the
think the one car
certificate
just
of-
stays there, I don't think, it doesn't move.
Yeah, because they weren't local.
Yeah, give them a call, so.
Yeah. And then I think,
There's pictures of the interior
Daughter was
on the,
gonna-
from when they listed it online, so maybe get some of those from the realtor, I think. The interior of that.
yeah, so I would say if you guys identify just single-family dwellings that you would
And
like
that
to
was
honor.
made, the architect that did that house did, Dave and Jonah Bobek's house that won last year. It's the same architect
Oh, cool.
that did both those houses.
Well, I went through the 5 that you sent us, and so I was wondering, do you know if this one, because they were converting it back to a single family, do you know if they ever finished that on 11th Street? My printer's having issues, so.
What's the address?
It looks like it had a fire, 422 11th Street, so off of Idaho.
I'll have to look, I don't know.
It said they were changing it from a fourplex back to a single family, and I didn't bring the rest of the
Yes, I
packet.
remember that one, okay.
We reviewed, because they had to rebuild the roof, and they were making sure to have the little fancy window in there. And I was just wondering if they had actually finished it, because I think it was April 20th of 22, so,
2 years
you know,
ago.
it's been almost 2 years.
Okay, I can check on that one.
So they were, let's see, converting from a fourplex back to a single family, be removing the door to the upstairs apartments as well as the door to the Unit 2 apartment downstairs. All windows will be upgraded using like materials and look. Due to the fire, the roof will need to be replaced and we will use the same structure as the current roof. Landscaping and grass will be cleaned up. The front and back doors will be replaced with the appearance of doors from the time that the home was built. We will also be painting the exterior of the home. So
Okay, I can check on that one.
that was the only one of those 5 that Taft was on there too, but the rest of them I thought were just like what I had referred to earlier, so I was curious about that one.
Yep, I can find out about that one and send you information.
Okay.
Last time I did drive-through all of those areas and, you know, and even in the orchards and places like that, we should be looking at this stage, but oh my goodness. I think as we do these, maybe we want to divide up the community in certain areas and say,
You drive through.
drive and look and see what you see in terms of rehabilitation along the way. You know, something like when the Liberty Theater gets done, you're gonna know whether or not it's gone back to a historic,
Sure.
Right, you'll be able to see that.
you know, era, but
And what's our date
do
for
you have
like
anything that
saying it's
done out of your
historic
firm that?
home? Is
is
it
rehabilitation?
1960
I was trying to
something?
think, we worked on that house with,
You
and she's
did?
done a nice job.
Yeah, well, I
You've done a
think,
very nice job.
Yeah.
I think
I wouldn't
that,
say the current code says like prior to
I
nineteen
think
fifty,
that needs to be.
but I can verify.
Because there's some, you know, stuff in the, well, I guess some of the 50s with 60s. Modern.
Yeah. Well, no,
Unfortunately, those
so I
don't
think
seem
it's
to get
supposed to be anything
restored.
older than 50 years, so I think 70s would be correct now.
Time's marching on.
Right.
So, older
I
than
can
the
verify.
70s maybe then, okay.
Wow. You're right.
Too bad with the Taft, I see what you guys are saying, but they have really contributed to the downtown area. I mean, we've got so many buildings that are so run down and nobody will take care of. And they're gonna retain the building, and so I don't know, I feel like if we're short on them, I totally understand it's not a historical. But I wish there was another award maybe for just trying to maintain these buildings downtown because they put a lot of money into it needed a lot of help, and yeah, it looks a lot better than it did,
Oh,
so.
it's great.
And don't they have apartments up above?
They do.
Yeah, so,
Is that the Mater building, is that?
No, the Taft building has apartments up above.
Or the Cat building with the, yeah, the Cat, right. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had the main, so the Taft, where the restaurant was, that's 524. There's where the BDL and chamber office, that's 528, and then 530 is the apartments that go upstairs. And so there was that stairway, and you guys approved that door entrance thing. And that goes up, and I believe there's 7 units up there.
yeah, that's a biggie. I mean,
I think there's 7 units up there.
housing.
Do you have the category list and definitions with you by
I
chance?
don't.
I don't have it either.
Yeah.
I can send them out again, though.
Yeah, that might be good. Get the category list and definitions sent to everybody again so we can really read what the criteria
Yeah,
are.
because boy, I agree with Lisa, it really cleaned it up, and it's not an eyesore like the black thing across the street.
We possibly have another meeting before the next meeting, before the one at the beginning of April, like,
A special meeting.
yeah. We can kind of go over this in a couple weeks when, or something, would that be in order?
I'll give you guys 2 weeks to
Yeah,
see what you found and then bring whatever back in 2 weeks.
yeah, then we wouldn't be so rushed at the
If
end.
there were an easier process to say to
you
somebody,
agree
we
with-
drove by your building.
Yeah.
and we
Right.
want you to-" No, I mean, it's
We're
really,
pretty
So I
on
take
them.
pictures.
We would like to honor you with the
you know, I'm just, I'm
You
listening
put on
to
several
Facebook
times.
because you're taking pictures of people's houses. They
Like the
think you're-
Ring doorbell, and they're like, oh, this is
You're like,
and I just sometimes think it's just
Official shit.
kind of awkward. And I hadn't thought about putting something on their door, but
I mean, I could make a flyer.
I'm just a little confused. So once we like pick a place, like they have to apply for? What do
You
they have to
got,
do?
so they could apply, but most of the time it's the commissioners filling out that application and like providing kind of a history, but normally you would get that information like from the homeowner. Cause you're looking at
So you're
like,
saying put a flyer on the door for what? To let them know that
saying,
we're
saying,
thinking
hey, we
about-
would like to honor your property with, an award, please contact us so we can get some information, blah, blah, blah. Cause if it's someone like, cause a lot of times, the things that commissioners will recommend that we award things to are ones that have had either a certificate of appropriateness, so we have contact information or we've met the homeowner or whatever. Or it's someone they know who's doing the work based on other groups that they're involved in, or they've heard about it from the historical society, cause maybe that person went and got old photos of their house because they were trying to do something, stuff like that. So usually there's a way for us to like track down like who we need to go talk to. But if you're just driving around, you might not necessarily know who owns the house, and, you know, knocking on a door, that freaks people out sometimes. So if you did a flyer, maybe just stop by and stick a flyer in their door if no one was home, and they could see that, and it would just be like, you know, we would like to appreciate the work that you have done to the exterior of your house in keeping with the historic nature of your neighborhood or the historic intent of your house or whatever.
Has anybody looked at Greg's house up there, the one who came and, up on Prospect Boulevard there, the Queen Anne home that.
Oh,
That's
Anne Marie's
historic.
house? I don't know where they're at with their, I mean, I could drive by my parents' house.
They've done a lot, they've totally redone the whole inside of the sports writer's house. I can't think of his name right now, it escapes me, the guy on Prospect by Miss Jenny's. Who am I talking, she used to sit in the commission.
Oh,
Oh, Anne Marie's house. Anne Marie Emerson.
No, it's the guy that was.
Jack O'Connor.
O'Connor, thank you, I couldn't believe, I was like, that is an elder moment, you guys, it's bad. Yeah, O'Connor, they.
Have those, some of us have
I
justified.
can think of, what is his name? Yeah, they totally redone the inside, they've done some on the outside, but they had to totally redo that. And they've completed it,
So, but
it's
they-
not
that's
totally
not-
finished, but pretty much finished on the inside.
Unfortunately, that doesn't fall.
Yeah, the
in
outside,
that
inside
area.
isn't.
Yeah,
Because that's a house that we should recognize.
Yes, we
It would be
should.
fun at some point too, but they're gonna do an Airbnb there too, right?
no, they're living there,
They're living in it?
yeah, they've sold their house and they moved there, yes. And they've done a lot of cleanup on the outside, cause it was horrible, there was dogs there that were untaken care of, and the yard was terrible, and they've hauled tons and tons of stuff, there was mice, I mean, it got in the next
That's
door
one of
neighbor's
those
house.
that improves the
Yeah.
character of the city and the
Yeah.
history of the person who lived there.
So I think
It's
just the cleanup they've
international
done is
history,
amazing,
you know,
and
I
some
mean, that's-
landscaping, but,
We've got a museum named after the guy, for gosh sake.
yeah.
So, you know, Lorinda, that might be an interesting possibility. I don't know what you say when they haven't done,
well, maybe we give them another year, because I think she does have big plans.
Well, I know they've already done the interior, because they had the rest, the people there, they redid all the sheetrock, the carpet, they gutted it, pretty much.
so maybe Leo, that's one we
When
just
it's
put on our
completed.
list to watch, because that would be that would be really important for a
Yeah.
city not to lose the character of that
And he wants
house
to,
and the
yeah, and
characters
he's
who
very
lived in
much
it.
wanting to bring it, because I've talked to him several times, to bring it back to, he's got pictures of the old, you know, how it used to be, so he's definitely on that.
And it didn't
Yeah,
have a
he's-
porch, because
right.
they added that.
No, they added that without a, yeah. But it looks kind of okay.
What's the address, do you know?
It would be probably 717 is the next door neighbor, so it could be 715 maybe? I don't know which way the addresses go.
Oh, is it the big White House?
Yeah, on the
White House
corner.
on the corner.
Oh, yeah, they
White
added that
House
porch.
green shutters, kind of on,
The porch
on
was
the
added
corner.
before,
Yeah.
Jack O'Connor used to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
only been on there, I don't even think it's been 10 years.
No, it hasn't, because that
I mean,
happened
it was done nice.
during my time.
It was done nice, and if I lived there, I would want a porch,
Right, so you can see your
yeah,
view
and
stuff.
enjoy and sit out there, but it totally changed the look of the
Right,
house,
doesn't
and
it?
it just
Yeah,
killed
yeah.
me when I saw it,
Anything like that.
but I get it.
Okay, okay, so do we want to set a special meeting so that you guys can try to hustle for 2 weeks and bring some ideas to the group?
I will just let you know, I will not be here, I've got a wedding that my daughter's getting.
Yeah, it's
I
fine.
do not have the brain space for
I
it.
think that's gonna be a no for me. So 2 weeks from today would be the 21st.
And that's
I'm
the
just a
wedding day.
I'm a little panicked about this one for some reason. We really don't have a lot of,
You guys do this every time though.
I know,
I'm not panicked about it
no
because y'all
different.
seem to like pull it out at the last
We
minute.
really need the categories, because I think that jogs some thinking, because right now we're just thinking houses, but there's a lot of other categories.
You know, and
Yeah,
we
so-
sometimes recognize people, and the people who are in the forefront again are the ones that we have seen for years, you know. And people like Malinsky, who's doing a lot of extra work, a lot of extra books and all that sort of stuff, but it doesn't pertain to
That's what I was
us particularly, you
you know,
know.
it's all Clarkston and Stoughton, isn't it?
I have a
So,
question.
I mean, that's, her major books recently are
Yeah.
from that area, I should say. So it's really a,
It was wonderful, Mr. Bush's speech, by the way, that he gave about the elephant. That place was packed. I mean, there was a lot of people.
The
there.
elephant story is really
Yeah.
cool though.
It was really, really, it was full. We had to sit on the
Kinda
side on the
sad,
floor,
but-
yeah. So that was good to see that turnout for that.
Okay, so yes, we wanna do a meeting or no, we don't want to do a meeting? So I guess let's go this way. Do you wanna do a meeting or do you want me to just bug you a whole bunch? Cause I have no problem with like emailing 1,000,006 times and being like, check in, check in, check in. Or if you feel like having a physical meeting where you have to come and see my pretty face is gonna make you more apt to actually
Well, then we could kind of see where everybody's at. I mean, I think.
drive around
yeah.
and do some looking.
Are the owners of, if say it's residential or what have you, are they expected to be at the award ceremony or?
They don't have
I
to
mean,
be, but
I'm
we,
sure they're encouraged.
but we invite
invite
them,
'em.
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And most of the time people come. And it's a fun thing,
Sure.
it's,
Why wouldn't they?
yeah, it's a little party.
I had one question on there. I don't have things from either, but it said something that you have to have, after you write it up, you have to have it confirmed or something. If you
So
want-
we vote on them, remember, so you
Okay, not
write
the,
everything
okay,
up.
I thought you had to have like a historian, like approve.
No,
it.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no.
all right, that's
No,
fine.
'cause
Okay,
you guys bring them forward,
Okay, then
we will
I'll-
review them as a group.
Okay, I
And
didn't
like I
understand
said
what that
before,
meant.
we will either
Thank
review
you.
them at the April meeting, or they can be reviewed at the May meeting, also have enough time to do certificates and stuff. But so the group reviews them and agrees that yes, they should have them awarded.
Okay, I was thinking it was,
Haven't we reviewed the
It's
meter
May
building
11th. I was
permits
thinking
stuff,
six.
Bumper,
I was panicking.
the bumper crop coffee?
The meter building.
Haven't we reviewed that for a
the
lot of
Osmer.
things?
Yeah, I don't know that they've actually done any of those things though. I mean, I know they put the little window into the ice cream thing and they put the little awning.
that's the meter building.
Yeah, but remember they came for a sign and I don't think they ever put the sign up and then they came for another sign. I haven't checked to see if that sign's gone up yet. Done that yet.
You know, we're gonna have the bargain hunter as a major redo, but it's not
Not
done.
done yet.
16 apartments in that place, I could not believe.
Garden Hunter, where's that?
I think it's more than that. I think it's 24.
Across from the courthouse.
I think it's
Oh,
12.
Oh, it's going to apartments?
Just the upstairs. So that's 3 levels.
Oh.
And so like the bargain hunter will still stay on that main
We'll
level.
have a view of the river, some of them.
And
will.
then the next 2 levels will be apartments. I think it's 24.
Really?
But I think it's 12 on each floor.
The
6 on each side.
investment in that building is huge.
Yeah, that whole gravel parking lot will be redone into a parking lot. And then, yeah, I think it's 24, 12 on each.
But it's not scheduled to be done until about October, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're working on it right now. All their building permits have gone out, but
Who owns that building?
Mark Alexander.
So, as far as a meeting in 2 weeks, who wants to have a meeting?
I'm not terribly excited about it because I don't know what we've got yet, but
Yeah,
I.
I thought it was like the April 11th. I thought that
Oh.
was the thing, so we have another month, so
So we
that's.
prefer to have Katie harass us then?
Let's give, yeah, why don't you
Yeah,
drive it?
I misjudged my date months, I was
Oh.
missing a month.
Okay,
There,
so
so I was panicking.
Let's go with that. So after this meeting, I will send out the category list and the definitions again for everybody to review. And then I will just do weekly check-ins. And if I don't see that you guys are making progress, then we can schedule like a work session.
Yes, okay.
You've
And we can
already
do some talking
capitalized the
about
word
stuff.
if.
How about that? Does that work for everybody?
That
That
would
works
work.
great, yes, thank you, I'm sorry, I was panicking there.
Let's do that. Okay, so that's all I have for that part. Yep.
Okay, so we can move on to the next item, which is commissioner comments.
I had 3 this morning. One of them was to talk about the new construction over here and the other things that we've approved along the way, so I think I've already done that one. to let you know that the aviary on the Heritage House the project has begun. And that's replacing it back to the time, to the era, putting in the windows back in, the doors back in that were there originally, the original design. That's moving along. Of course, in any of those kinds of constructions, what we're finding is all of a sudden when you go to put the windows back in, the concrete has deteriorated ridiculously in places, and if you move some of it, you're likely to have a collapse along the way. So everything that's being done is being done very cautiously at this point, because you don't want any of those things to happen. And it has the exterior, what you will see that will be the change will be the windows and doors on everything. And Stedman's, Kirk and Jason and certainly Christie have been involved in that, paid for all of the windows, but that's on a grant from Idaho Heritage Trust. And they are working with us on the inside and putting in there'll be wainscoting going back in that, is period. And they have taken the floor in there that was like this, and it had really dangerous spots in it and all of that has been repaired. So there's a great deal of things happening. The Liberty is, just to give you an update on the marquee, all of the paperwork, all of the compliance work for the federal park system that is really the ultimate funder of the first $100,000 on that. All of those papers have been put in, the special federal numbers that you have to do that kind of construction when you take federal money. All of that compliance work was finished just 2 days ago. We have over 60 people who asked about the request for work there, and 30 of them at this point start to look a little bit more interesting. But by March 27th, hopefully that will be narrowed down to 10. Some of them are highly illogical, like firms wanting to, from Boston, saying they want to come, and it's just totally illogical when you look at it, and they really can't provide the service that you want them. A lot of design to build applications that are there. Obviously, there's some local as well, because we have had contact with, we have some commitments for work, and certainly at this point, we're excited about some of the commitments that we've had for materials and some of the labor commitments that we've had. All of those things are starting to look a little bit more healthy than what they were. They're getting back to the stage of where we were pre-COVID, where we were moving into that and thinking we could just go ahead. So you can expect that the first part of the construction is probably scheduled for, which is demolition, or at least opening up that marquee to figure out what's really in there structurally, will happen about October. But we're certainly hoping that will be an improvement and start making us look like a better neighbor downtown. That's kind of where we are with that one.
Cool.
Anybody else? We'll move on to council liaison comments.
On our meetings, the mayor asked us to give any updates pertaining to our council being the liaison to meetings. So is there something that you guys would want me to share at my next council meeting, which is this Monday?
Tell them that Orchid Boards is coming on the 11th.
I got that 11th. Is that just something that goes out, or we have a time set? I don't know.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. Okay.
So it's May 11th at 11 a.m. at the Territorial Capitol building.
Okay. Anything else? Pretty good.
I mean, that's like a good starter point.
Okay.
When we get closer and like they've made decisions on how many people.
And the new courthouse doesn't fit into any of our categories.
Right.
After they've like made some choices and stuff, I believe, no, there's not. Like the last meeting in April, they might have you say something again.
Okay.
And be like, we're gonna be honoring this many people at this date, this time.
But right now, just the date and time,
Yep.
that is a thing.
Yeah, press release went out, it's on the website, yeah, so just a date and time.
Perfect. And if there is a meeting that I'm not supposed to be here for, just let me know and I won't show up. But I will try to be here as long as I am able. And so that is my plan.
Cool.
That is all I have. Thank you.
Okay, staff comments.
Okey dokes. So most of you met Bob. Bob is our new commissioner. It's welcome to the commission. Yep, that's kind of all I got. And then, so next meeting is April 4th. So just query anybody unable to attend on April 4th. Is that spring break for you? Is your spring break the week before?
Last week of March.
Same as Lewiston's supposed to try. Fantastic. Anyone unable to attend? Everybody thinks they're gonna be okay? Okay.
I think I'm good.
And that's kind of all I got right now.
Okay, well, unless anybody has anything else.
A lot of travel in the next 2
Oh,
weeks.
you know. Yeah, I am.
Just to enjoy it thoroughly.
I was gonna say, my other guy goes on vacation, I have to cover for like 14 days.
Oh, that's good times.
But it is until after that, so we're good.
Okay.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody okay with adjourning?
Yep.
Say yes?
Thank you.
Okay.